The number one question over the last week that I've been asked is real simple. What should I do? Hey, it's John Cheplak coming to you from the desert. I'm out here by Lake Mead, which is just east of the Las Vegas Valley. Of course, practicing all of the things that we all need to do to stay safe, stay healthy, and stay ahead. But really what I want to focus in on is that one question, what should I do? And I think what we know at the basic level, listen closely to what we need to do with the current environment surrounding us. But then what I suggest people do is, first of all, looking at personally. I know that the first thing that we think about is our financial well-being, our financial impact. That's pretty natural. And, I think that that's really the second thing to pay the closest attention to. I think the first thing to pay closest attention to is ourselves. And I tell leaders this too, and we're all a leader. We're a leader whether we have a real estate team, we have a real estate brokerage, we're a real estate agent, we're a mom, we're a dad, we're a friend, we're all leaders. And I think the most important thing is for each and every one of us to be a lighthouse for one another in the best way we possibly can. For me personally, I know in going through my series of misadventures in life that have shaped me, that I constantly revisit, is I know to bring the best of myself forward to hopefully support and impact people is I have to take care of myself. And I get the privilege of working real closely with some amazing people. And so when I look at that, it's not the work that I do with them that matters the most. It's the work that I do with myself. And we can get lost in that, especially right now. And I want to talk to you about that. So much of what we focus on in doing is physical, yet it's also mental. And you look at energy as it is, the brain takes up more energy than any other part of the body. And then you put an emotional trigger. Listen, we've all been triggered emotionally. And what I would say is, I can't say don't be afraid. Be afraid. Have some fear. It's normal. We need the duality, but as you go through those experiences, just my learning, because I've been very afraid in many times based on situations, experiences that I've had in life. Most of them I've brought on myself. I mean, if I look at the things where I've been afraid, guess who was responsible? Good old me. There's situations in my personal life that I'm afraid of. But when I get in that moment of fear, what I do is I look at it and say, okay, that's real, that's normal. Don't resist it. Don't resist it, because it will paralyze you. Accept it and see it and experience it, but then ask yourself, what's the next right thing that I can do right? Number one. What can I control? What can I not control? The greatest levers of stress that I've experienced personally is when I start thinking about what I can't control. We're all in a real life situation. Mine's no worse than yours. I know I learned a long time ago when I was at rock bottom. I thought that I was the only guy with a bad situation. And the number one thing my mentor said to me was, go find someone you can help. It was like, this isn't comedy hour, man. I've got $5 to my name, my bicycle. And this isn't that, I think we've heard the internet marketers. It's like they were all raised in a trailer, right? Nothing against it, but we grew up in a trailer and we didn't, it's like, man, have a different story behind it. But even as I look at, my most desperate situations, and it was desperation, it was focusing on that one next right thing I can do right. It was focusing on what I could control one day at a time. And I know it's cliche, but the nice thing is I feel comfortable in sharing certain cliches like that. because I've had to, if there's a cliche out there for the betterment or getting through something, hey, I've tried them all. And I am every moment of my life. I think the work that I get to do, I think is because of the fact that I know that I haven't arrived. And this is an opportunity for us to go on a journey. We are all on a journey that we've never been on before. And what I've learned in it is I've grown from every single one of them, but I've got to stay right here, right now. But in our personal situation now, okay, great. We have a high risk, and I know some of you are, and my prayers are with you. My thoughts are with you. I'm sending you good vibes. Some of you are super high risk. I have a family member that is super high risk. I mean, we have conversations about it, but it's not from putting an energy at it. It's having an awareness of it. American Heart Association, on their website, 40% of the unfortunate outcomes due to this are heart disease. Okay. And we talk about it. We bring it forward. It's okay to talk about it. And I know there's going to be, and I have to watch myself to it too, is we're all going to navigate through this differently. The one thing that I want to really make clear to you is I just share so that, I don't know, I think it's partly for me, selfishly. I think it's important to keep moving forward and to take the things that are inside of you right now, that scare you, that are painful to you, get them outside of you. They don't do any good inside of us. And I'm not talking about being a complainer. I'm talking about being someone that has responsible conversations, that shares where they're at. But, we have conversations about where Lexi's health situation is and how we navigate through that. So we've got where we're at right now, and then we've got where we'll be if something happens. And okay, we've got that. We're done. We're on to the next thing. So what I want to share with you on the personal level is, and it's real simple stuff outside of, the things that we need to do is really take care of ourselves. It was interesting. My theme for 2020, I didn't write a business plan. I haven't in years. I have not for years. I've got some different triggers that I keep that keep me going, and it's worked well for me. And now, wait a minute, you're a business coach and you don't have a business plan? Well, that's what the book says, and that's what everyone says. But, again, there's a great example right there of each and every one of us needs to do what works for us. If something isn't working for you, reach out to someone where it's working for them and find out what they're doing. Have an openness. But, right now is this time of slowing. It's a time of rest, if you will. And here's what's pretty interesting. I look at what my theme was. I saw that book, or I didn't even see the book. I heard, what's your one word? What's your word for 2020? I was like, wow, the one word theme. Okay. And then I think there was a book that's about that, apparently. What was interesting for me is I think about themes, and my theme was rest. My theme for 2020 was rest, period. And you look at the irony of this, to move through this, the most responsible way is to get rest. That's one of the big things. Rest, hydration. Certainly we've got the social distancing, eating well. So that's what I want to talk to you about too, is look real closely at our nutrition. We know these things, and people have shared that, and I just want to reiterate it. I mean, look at this as an opportunity of consciousness and to really look at ourselves. I go too fast. Absolutely. Well, but you tell people to slow down. Well, because guess what? Perfect. No one is perfect. This opportunity to slow down, have a consciousness around our being. One of the things I shared earlier in a video was talking about a time in my life where I was counseled to spend time alone, to spend time with myself. And it's probably one of the most powerful things that I did, because what happens is it causes us to really deal with ourselves. People can be busy, and part of busyness is not dealing with ourselves, dealing with our stuff. That can be the scariest thing. What one of my mentors said to me is that going inside your brain alone, John, is like going into a crime scene alone. I mean, pretty abrupt, but I think for those of you that follow me and know me or have worked with me, know that I need to go to people that are super extreme, because those are the ones that impact me. And there's some of you that don't need that, and that doesn't work out well. So, on the personal level, I want to just share with you to really just focus on your well-being. When you're getting stressed out, when you're feeling fear, recognize it. Don't panic. Oh my gosh, stress is gonna, just create this vulnerability to, for me. Yeah, it will, sure. But just recognize that, and then contrast, and then shift. Because without the stress, without the fear, okay, you can't have calm. Without the fear, you can't have love. We've got to have the contrast. And so what's really neat is all these things that we've heard, the principles, the quotes, the cliches. If you go back and look at many of them we've all been exposed to, we've got the answers within us already. Now we just get to bring them forward. One of the things that I look at in the coaching side of things, I don't know that I've ever given anyone anything too magical. I think the only thing that I've done, if I were to say of anything in my work, is I've allowed people to see what they already have. I've allowed people to see what they already have. And so I want to challenge you to look within yourself, and if you're questioning yourself, pause for a moment and see if maybe it's already in you. I truly believe it is. For many years I didn't. Does that mean that I'm not a seeker? Oh my goodness. I am a seeker all the time, in all areas, spiritually, physically, in just business, all those things. I'm a constant seeker in those things. So really, one of the things I said earlier was bet on yourself. Bet on yourself. And have confidence in yourself. And when you lack that, and you've looked within and you feel that you're not finding it, reach out to someone that is maybe doing something that you're challenged with. Have that humility. I think in times like this too, and it's human nature, many of us want to reach out and help people, and it's one of the things that I've done over the last week in talking to literally hundreds of people since last Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I haven't stopped, and I'm sure you have not either. And I asked everyone a question. I said, raise your hand if you love helping people. All the hands go up. And I said, here's the next question. Raise your hand if you have trouble asking for help. All the hands stayed up. And I think that asking for help is really important, because you're going to catch people. You talk about business masterminds and communities and things like that, because we're all going to be at different spaces. There's times when I'm not at my best version of myself, but I know that I have a group of certain people around me that they're their best version of their self. And so I ask for help, and it's okay. One of the things that I've learned from the people that I really look up to, whether it's, and I look at the whole person, the person that's really, mastering their personal life, mastering their professional life. One theme that I've found, two themes I'd say, is they always ask, they're always seeking, they're always looking for help. They don't feel that they've arrived. They just don't. And the second piece with them, though, is they're massive contributors. They're massive contributors. So that's the next thing that I want to share with you, is that know that in these times that every single human being has something they can offer to someone else. And, don't doubt yourself. But when you do doubt yourself, reach out to someone, acknowledge it. And I think that that's where it's important too, to have people around you that are going to be brutally honest. It's very interesting. People say, give me the truth. You give them the truth and then you're a jerk. It's like, what do you want? And I think sometimes too, and I'd be the first to acknowledge it too, my delivery is not for everyone. And that's okay. No one is for everyone. You may have the same principles and beliefs or whatever it may be that is parallel to me, but you have a different delivery. And that's so wonderful, because there are different people that are going to receive those same principles in a way better than they would from me. And so that's where sharing is really important. I guess airplanes are still flying. Oh, there's where it is, up there. So know that that's true and that's real. So take care of yourself personally. On the professional level, I guess if I led with any message on the business level, talking to that, and I say message from the work that I do. We all do work. We do work to, support our families. We do work that hopefully we're passionate about, and it's part of this equation on this planet as we go. My input to you in your business, a lot of people have been asking me, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do with my business? Now, specifically for me and the work that I do, it's with broker owner managers, large organizations, small organizations, some of the biggest teams in the world, some teams that are just starting up, individual agents, and then I have a number of clients outside of that group in multiple different industries. And so, people are asking me, just like, for example, a question someone posted in a thread, I've got a team, and what suggestions are you telling teams, or what suggestions are you giving to teams? What suggestions are you giving to broker owner managers? And there's general, the buy the book, I guess, if you will. That's always the starting place, but there's always caution in a sweeping commentary, because there's some things that need to be considered. Okay, certainly you need to look at what are the trends, what are the numbers showing you right now in your business today versus a week ago. One of the things that you need to look at is, okay, and what do expenses look like, all those things. And there's some basic framework in that. And I say basic, I guess simple, or maybe that's not the right word, but meaning that here's some guidelines is what I would say. That's the right word. What are some simple guidelines? And so I come into it as I talk to all of you, but also in the individuals that I've been talking to through these times as they change, is here's the guidelines, but now here are the questions. Number one, and I want you to think about this and write these things down and be real serious about it, is, what is my risk tolerance? What is my risk tolerance? It's reality. Again, this is the business side of it. Okay. What is the financial situation you're in right now? What are your reserves, and what does that look like? Okay. And in looking at those two things, the next part is, okay, how today can you run your business the most effectively and fiscally responsible? Now, here's what's very interesting. John, that's not rocket science. No, it's really not. You know what I'm finding, what's really neat, and I always respect confidentiality, because what's happened over the last week is I have a group of leaders I work with, and then there have been a lot of leaders that have come in and wanted just some consulting in just this time right now, and in looking at it is, again, it is case by case. It's case by case. But I think what they're finding in most of them, as they start peeling back the onion in the business, it's like, gosh, this would have been fiscally responsible to look at regardless. Gosh, why was I hanging on to this? So that's where you look at the duality of this. What I want you to do is, and again, we hear the cliches, but I've lived in it, and I am living in it right now, is, what is it, turn lemon into lemonade or something like that. With the darkness, there's the light. Well, it's all very true. And so as you're making the choices that you're making, and that's the key piece, one thing I want to let you know is this, is after you've looked at, okay, here's the basic guidelines of what someone should do in their business right now taking a look at your personal beliefs around that too. Challenging, really challenging. You know, those lines can get blurred between personal and business, and they are blurred. But looking at, okay, what are the choices that I need to make based on risk tolerance, based on what's fiscally responsible, based on the ability to go long term. And here's the other part that we have that we don't control. We don't control, you know, what the outcome is going to be. But you want to know what's so interesting with the unknown of the situation we're in? When has it been any different? And stay with me. Some people can get excited, and that's okay. I'm not talking about minimizing where we're at, but let's stay in the principle. Let's stay in the principle of the fact of, when did we really ever know what the outcome is? So there's an opportunity right there to look real clearly at, is taking us back to the cliche of focusing on what we can control. You know, it's kind of, one of my mentors said to me, and he had me deliver a business plan and financial budgets in 2000, and was for multiple offices, and gave it to him. He says, all right, good, now just abandon that. And I go, what? He says, because I want you to emotionally detach from that. It's there, it's in you, you know that's the guidepost, but now I want you to emotionally attach to the process, because the process is what you control. Now in the process has been proven to work. You can't control what the outcomes are each step in the process, but what you can do is, along the way in the process, is you can pause and take a look at what happened and what didn't happen. And that brings back another principle to look at too, in helping look at in our business. And I'll come back to the personal things. You know, here the lines are really blurred again, right? So it is this principle of, your future's in your past. Your future is in your past. So let's go back to, you know, what would be normal times in, I've got this business plan, I've got these numbers that I'm going to hit, and I'm so attached on the numbers, so attached to the goal. Well, you've got to emotionally detach from it, because what happens is, when you're emotionally detached from emotionally attached to something, if at one moment it shifts, it changes, it moves, and maybe you've been here before, what's going to happen is you're going to compromise the process. I know. I don't sit here having it all figured out. I sit here fortunate enough to have done all of these things the wrong way. And today, this future, or the now, but you know, looking back when it was, is a result of living in that space. My future is in my past. My future is in my past. You know, one of the things that I use as, and I shared it with my inner circle groups today, is some people have goals, some people have affirmations, and, you know, different things that work for them. I have triggers. I keep triggers. And my one trigger that I always reference, and people have heard about it so much, they're probably sick of hearing about it. I was talking to my good friend Justin Haver a couple days ago, as we were talking about navigating through these times, and I talked about my bike, and he says, and he finished the sentence, he says, I know your bike sits in your courtyard and you got to walk by it. And he wasn't being sarcastic at all. That's not what I'm saying, but I talk about it so much. You know, one of my triggers that I keep right now is the bicycle. I have a false front door, okay? I have a false front door that comes into a courtyard, and then you come into a real front door, it's glass, and there is a beach cruiser bicycle from 2008. It was my car. And my $5 that I had, well, that would be 10, my $5 that I had to my name back then, and the 10 years of tax filings I had not done. I'll say it again, the 10 years of tax filings I had not done at that point in time. And for me, the trigger is, I walk by that bike every single time I go in and out of my house. I do a lot of my coaching calls either in my little casita office or in my home, and there's a glass window for both of those, and there's windows that look out, and I can always see my bike, and it's the trigger. And you know what the bike tells me? The bike tells me it's all going to be all right. the bike tells me it's all going to be all right. And again, too, and I'm not qualifying what I say. I think people know that I'm always going to say what I'm going to say, and that may not work for you. You know what matters to me is maybe going back and visiting. One of the things I learned working real closely with Debbie Ford personally and continuing to consume her content today, 10 years later, is it's real important to be able to look at and visit those painful moments. Because we got through it. We got through it. My bike tells me, okay, that it's going to be all right. And my bike has told me that every single day. And every single day, I, like everyone else, has challenges that come up. And so maybe there's something, I look to, again, your futures and your past with your business and with your personal life. Funny how, I go to the business space, yet it brings us back to personal. It's kind of, the conversation I have with my people is, what can you draw upon that you've been able to get through, that take yourself in that moment. Take yourself in that moment when you were, and trust that you can go there. I'll talk to some people, they don't feel that they've got the strength to go there. And that's okay. Write about it. Talk to yourself about it. And tell yourself, a lot of times I work with people is, okay, don't go there right now. Talk to yourself about the ability to visit that moment, okay? Take in a literature, learning, and things that from the outside that can inspire you to actually bring forward what's already inside of you so that you can visit those moments. What I've found is my ability to visit those moments, and I don't mean to laugh at them, to take myself in that space and understand what I was feeling and the hopelessness that I felt, and then to know, what did I do next? See, unpack what's happened. It's kind of like, you look in the business world, one of the great quotes is the definition of an entrepreneur. The definition of an entrepreneur, that things get going really, really well, and we change them. It's no. I mean, or when things are really, really, really bad, we think about something different we're going to do. No. When things are going really, really good, just keep doing more of it, right? And when things are going really, really bad, go back to the place where you were in that really, really bad spot. Go back to that place when you were really, really down. Go back to that place when you had so much doubt that you weren't going to get through it. And look at what you did to get through it. And then just duplicate it, because your future is in your past. So what I want to leave you with on a business point is this: is look at your business. I've made my own decisions in how I'm handling my business. I want to tell you this: in your business, and again, this is me respecting each person's financial situation, whether it's whether you're concerned over the next week, or 2 weeks or 30 days, and I'm not discounting that, because we're actually helping people right now in those spots. But no matter what it is show leniency to people. I mean, I'm just telling you. And if it's something that's going to impact you financially, stay with me. Show leniency to people. Show understanding. Maybe leniency isn't the right word. I'm not a well-educated young man here. I'm just a bouncer at a nightclub that maybe sometimes I try and use college words when I don't need to, because I don't even know what they mean. But show understanding. How about that, right? Show understanding to people. And if you're worried about it financially, and it's cliche, it is, I promise from a guy that had $5 to his name, and no hope and no confidence. And I went to a mentor, and he popped in. He popped in here. I hope he's still here. I remember sitting in his backyard. I'll let him remain anonymous. It's the first person that I went to. My brother told me to go see him. I said, who's going to be the most challenging human being in the worst time in my life? And the worst time in my life was, it was a good time actually. I was about 2 or 3 days out of rehab. And he said, go talk to this person. And I went over to that person's home, sat in that person's backyard, and the conversation was pretty short. And the conversation went like this. A guy who's got a bicycle, I think I got a ride over to his house, and $5 to his name, and business wasn't going well, I'm sure you can imagine. There was no business for me. And all he said to me at that point was, go help someone. And what I want to share with you is number one, focus every day as you wake up, today and even on the other side of this. Help yourself first, but when you're feeling hopeless, there's someone, okay, that needs you way more than you need anyone or anything. And I'm proof of it, because I was asked to do that. Do I always get it right? No. I probably get it wrong more than I get it right. But I have an ability to, and that's not a cop-out. That's an acknowledgement and a consciousness I have around it. But I do my best to make it right. But, there's concern about our personal well-being. There's concern about our family. There's concern about, there's concern financially. And we hear love is the answer. Well, I want to take it from a space of, there are two emotions, that's it. There's love or fear. And I just always want to shift over to fear, okay? I always want to shift over to, I want to shift from fear over to love. I mean, constantly. And, it's just help someone. You're concerned about money, you're concerned about your health, goodness sakes. They're right there with me. I had a wild week myself. I did. And made some choices, and hopefully I made all the right choices. And, we'll see. And if I didn't, the nice thing is I've got a group of people around me that'll tell me where I didn't make the right choices. And we'll continue to do that. But take care of yourself. But in taking care of yourself, think about this each day when you wake up. Go find someone else. Here's what happens psychologically. They say, and this is the key piece I want to leave you with, okay? They say the teacher's ever the student. Well, the student always learns more, right? They tell you to go help someone, and actually that's going to make you feel better about yourself. Well, so when I'm doubting myself, when I'm not loving myself, but when I go give some love to someone else, what happens psychologically is unconsciously, I start to feel that I have love inside me. And I was taught that at the lowest level, at the most foundational level, because I didn't love myself for many, 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 many years, okay? And then when you start looking at where you're at in your business and you have questions, and certainly seek those that you trust that can give you maybe some input from their experience. But here's what I want you to do though too, is know that, and this is where the teacher is ever the student. I can promise you, wherever you're at in your business right now, you have some experience, you have some input that you can help someone else. There's someone that doesn't know as much. See, that's how we keep moving along, is there's always people that know a little bit more than us. There's always people that have been through more painful experiences than us. And it's like we can get this borrowed belief from them. And so when you can go out and you can give a borrowed belief to other people on a personal level of something similar and what steps you've taken, okay, you're going to feel more confident as you go through this. When you're looking right now at your business and your people that you lead and the choices you have to make, I want you to be thinking about, but who's someone else that maybe have it even worse or not have as much experience as me? Go help them, because when you go help them, it's not just, I want you to know that it's not just what they're going to get that's going to help them. It's going to, see, the teacher's ever the student. What the teacher who's ever the student, and the evolution of that, what they're going to discover is, wow, I've got that in me. and it's going to build your confidence, and it's going to build your strength, and it's going to build your ability to go forward, to help if you're leading other people, to help them, if you're leading your family, to help them. So I am wishing the best for everyone, but I'm knowing that everything's going to, just like my bicycle tells me every day, just like my bicycle tells me every day, everything is going to be all right. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I know everything is going to be okay. Reach out to a lot of people and just ask them how they're doing. I can do a better job of that too. It's pretty neat because there's a lot of things in this that are serving me. I can slow down. I can connect deeper with people. I can rest more. I need to. So know that pay attention to, as you reach out to people, that as you reach out to them and spend time with them, that you get rest. Don't know if you're at home a lot right now, think about distractions, okay? We all have unconscious distractions as we're able, I go to the gym and I get distracted to, well, let's go eat over here when I should just go home and eat. And let's go, so be really cautious at home and be really, when I say cautious, maybe conscious. Careful not to replace distractions that you had outside of the home. See, this is an opportunity to interrupt the pattern, all right? And get really focused at home. Now, it's easier for me to say, I don't have children at home, I don't have a significant other at home, but even with that is do your very best, respecting your, exactly right, it's respecting your situation, your circumstance, and just get really focused on the things that are just going to really grow your being as a person, physically, spiritually, and in your business as you go. So that's it. Ain't got no more. Much love to y'all. I appreciate all of you and the love, support, and inspiration you throw my way. And peace.